Welcome everybody to the last day of class. CSI 1 in the bag. The first thing is all of your essays, make sure that you do your peer reviews. That's going to be due by next Monday. That's 5% of your, I think, the total grade in your class, so make sure you do those peer reviews. It's really important. The second thing is the final is going to be next week. I'm just going to open it up during, I don't know, most of finals week, I guess. And once you start it, you'll have 2 hours to take it, same as the midterms. So don't open it and then take a look and then close it, you know, hoping to come back to it later. Just once you start it, you know, make sure you got your water, make sure you've gone to the bathroom, you've showered, made sure you look good, you know, you're fired up, you're alert. It's basically going to be the same as midterms. Every topic we've talked about in this class is fair game, including truth tables, fallacies, cognitive biases, social issues in computer science, the works. Okay. So I was thinking we could probably go through a sample funnel right now just to see what it might look like. Every semester I teach this class a little bit differently, but we do have set theory also. Let's make sure you guys review that. Let's see here. Quizzes. Let's see if there's a final from last year up in here. You can just go through that. All right. If you have an Oculus Rift virtual reality headset and you say something that Facebook doesn't like, they suspend your Facebook account. You cannot use your Oculus Rift to play video games anymore, and the games you bought are lost. True story. Although they are now charging you an extra $500 if you want to have a headset that doesn't require a Facebook account to use. So an Oculus Rift is a virtual reality goggles you put on, and they added it after you bought one to require a Facebook account if you want to play any games on it. So what social issues in computer science does this touch on? Digital ownership. What it means to own something in these modern days. I don't know if we really got into that too much this year. But like, you know, if you spend money on Amazon, like it'll say buy a movie on Amazon. Right now, Amazon is in trouble for that because they're like, no, we can just cancel that at any time. You know, sure, you've bought a movie, but like you didn't buy the movie. Well, did we rent the movie then and we can watch it whenever? No, you didn't actually get anything. You're just giving us money. And so that's, yeah. And that was actually today when Amazon's got in trouble for saying buy a movie. They can just cancel it and then you get nothing. So, what time will it be open? It'll be open pretty much all of finals week. So, there's no class, I should mention, on Friday. There are what are called consultation days. So between 11 o'clock and 12 tomorrow and between 10 and 12 on Friday, I'm available for consultation hours, which means office hours, essentially. I'm not really sure what the difference is between them and normal office hours. But just, I mean, technically 24/7 are office hours for me. As you guys are aware, you can always send me a message any time of day or night, and I will answer them. All right. Largest protest in the history of the world took place in India. This was from last semester. Like I said, I try to keep this class topical. 250 million people protesting for minimum income law. Other things, a lot of farmers in India were part of that. It was not covered by any of the major media outlets. What issues what social issues in computer science does that cover? And so remember when we talked about manufacturing consent, where like the media has a gatekeeping effect on what is discussed, right? And replication crisis. Now replication crisis is the problem that in science people publish these big groundbreaking landmark papers, and then when people try to reproduce them, they can't. totally different issue. The impact of social media on society, I heard about it because of my friends linking to it on Facebook. So that would definitely be social media, the impact of social media on society. It'll be open probably only until Thursday. Yeah, is next Friday part of finals week? I don't recall. I think. Either way. Okay. Ends Thursday. Yeah, then it'll be morning of Monday through midnight on Thursday or something like that. Yeah. Don't start at 11:59. Try to get 2 extra hours. All right. The Good Place. It's one of my favorite episodes of The Good Place. The trolley problem experiment. We talked about the trolley problem in this class, did we? We didn't do the trolley problem? Okay, we're going to have to do the trolley problem. We did? Okay, no? Yes? No? Okay, well, the classic trolley problem, and it's a source of a lot of memes, so it's there's so many trolley problem memes that you kind of, you know, I would be doing you a disservice if we didn't talk about this. So the classic trolley problem is whether or not you should throw a lever to divert a trolley away from 4 people on the tracks towards 1 person on the tracks, and it gets into questions of agency, like, you know, if you just stand by and let the 5 people get run over, you're just sort of an innocent bystander. But if you throw the switch, then you're sort of actively involved in the death of this 1 person. And then there are many memes based on it. So, you know, multi-track drifting, you know, is of course always the answer. You're a time traveler. A runaway trolley is heading to kill 5 people. If you pull the lever, only 1 will die. But if the person on the track is your grandfather and your parents have been born yet. So, yeah. That's funny. Configuring updates for Windows 10. So it doesn't do anything. It's hilarious. Yeah, there are a lot of memes for it. Okay, and so there's an episode of the Good Place in which they test Chidi's an ethical philosopher, and they're testing his ethics by actually creating a trolley problem experiment, and they send him down the tracks over and over again, trying to see whether he murders the 1 person or the 5, and when he chooses to murder the 1 person, it's one of his friends, etc., etc. So, this would be ethical frameworks, and we haven't talked about programming autonomous vehicles either, but that's yeah, it probably actually does touch on programming autonomous vehicles. We didn't talk about that. You know, you know, how do you program a Tesla, right? If a Tesla is driving down the street and a pedestrian steps in the road, does the Tesla throw itself out of the way of the pedestrian, crashing the Tesla, but saving the life of the person? And you can get more and more complicated scenarios from that. So we visited Stanford a couple years ago. They have an autonomous vehicle lab there called CARS, C-A-R-S. And I asked the director of the lab, I'm like, you know, what's your solution to the trolley problem? You know, because if you're programming autonomous vehicles, you gotta choose which way to go. Do you kill the 1 person? Do you kill the 5 people? You know, what is it? And he said, well, we would just do simulations, see how humans do it, and then program the computer that way. So essentially just offloading the problem to other people. Okay. Have you seen Airborne in this? No. Have you seen Airborne in the grocery store? No. Note the asterisk after the claim. Helps support your immune system. This is because the claim was made by a 2nd grade teacher and not by any clinical studies. Airborne Health Incorporated, the company that makes Airborne, settled a class action lawsuit against them for making false advertising statements. What social issues in computer science does this touch on? Pseudoscience. Piracy. No, we're not pirating anything. Digital ownership, no. Privacy, no. It's pseudoscience. So pseudoscience is when you make claims that appear to be scientific, but you know, there's no way of telling, right? What does it mean? Help support your immune system. I mean, you know, what does it even mean? Support your immune system. Is your white blood cell count going up? Are you gonna recover from diseases faster? There's not even a test you can really do for that because it's not even clear what the claim means. Yeah. Richard Stallman proposed that all digital media should be freely copyable. We talked about this semester. So his solution for digital ownership and copyright laws was to simply allow anybody to copy anything, and then have the government. I don't know, my eyes are messed up right now. And then have the government have a pool of money, and they distribute money to artists based on kind of a popular vote, right? So, you know, there's different ways you can do it that would be equitable, things like that. So basically, you just share whatever you want with anybody, and then, you know, Taylor Swift would still get paid because people would vote for her more than me and my sea shanties. You know what I mean? Or my Irish music. As I was going over the Forth and Kerry mountains, met with Captain Farrell and his money he was counting. Manufacturing consent? No. Piracy? Yes. AI? No. Security? No. Okay. Cryptography is the practice of converting a message into an unreadable form and then converting it back. And so this probably touches on security and privacy. Piracy, maybe. Simply because, you know, when you pirate stuff, it's a good idea to turn your VPN on so that your ISP can't spy on you, which they do. It's probably not going to be checked, though. Yeah, maybe. Okay. When some researchers tried rerunning famous experiments, they found over half of them didn't work at all, or the effect size was overstated. So this is the replication crisis. Right? It has nothing to do with manufacturing consent. Like, if you don't see media, you know, the mass media in here, it's not going to be manufacturing consent. Because manufacturing consent is about how the media sort of set the agenda, set what we're talking about. They also all sort of move together like a school of fish. Like, one fish darts one way, and then the other fish all dart after it. So, for example, Giuliani, they made some sort of claim about Giuliani recently. I didn't read the article because it's America, and I'm American, so I just read the headline. But what it said was, you know, all the media outlets got something wrong about Giuliani. Okay, I lied. I actually read a little bit of it. So I clicked on it, and it said the New York Times apologized for running a false headline because they saw that some other news agency had run a headline, and so they ran it without checking their sources first because they didn't want to be left behind. They didn't want to be scooped by another organization. And so one organization publishes something explosive and dramatic, then all the other ones chase after it, and they don't do their due diligence in verifying whether or not it's real. So that would be manufacturing consent. Piracy, it's not piracy. Digital ownership is not digital ownership. Okay. If you only care about the outcome of your actions, what does this make you? What do you guys think? If you only care about the outcome of your actions, ethical frameworks, what does that make you? Fourth option is you don't want to type it out. Yeah. Okay. If you only care about your ethical obligations rather than the consequences, then you are a. If you only care about your duties, like what you have to do. I wonder if that's why it's called a duty. It's what you got to do. Do the do. Deontologist, yep. If you care about maximizing pleasure and minimizing pain, then you are a. I wonder if there's got to be a meme for that, right? Deontology memes. There's got to be memes for deontology, right? There's a guy named Dion. I don't know. Come on. There's got to be some deontology memes here. Images. Why I'm antisocial. Wow. That's Immanuel Kant there. Deontology. It's a trolley problem meme and a deontology meme. There you go. This is not even a meme. Look at this. Like, you just have trouble. Okay, that's a good one. Types of headaches, migraine, hypertension, stress, living your whole life in accordance with Kantian ethics. Yeah, not really many memes though for deontology. That's a shame. A lot more trolley problem memes though. Okay. So maximizing pleasure, minimizing pain is hedonism, ethical hedonism. People confuse that with like somebody who just wants to party all the time, get drunk and stuff like that. But an ethical hedonist basically uses what they consider to be an unobjectionable foundation for their ethics, right? Because everybody likes pleasure, everybody hates pain, therefore this is something that we can all agree on, and therefore if everybody likes something, it must be good, and everybody hates something, it must be bad. I mean, even Socrates said something along those lines, you know? And so like Sam Harris, who believes that science can solve the is-ought problem, right? You can use science to determine what is right and wrong. He sneaks this in under the hood. He says, well, we'll just start with something that everybody agrees to be true. That bodily health is good and pain is bad. You know, and then once we have that, we can use science to determine what is right and wrong. Of course, not everybody is an ethical hedonist, right? Like, you know, you say like, well, what about heroin? You know, heroin gives you pleasure. You know, is that ethically good then? Should we give school kids heroin? Like, that would be an ethically good act, right? You know, you don't need to teach, like, why teach them at all, right? Teaching inflicts pain on people, right? You know, I inflicted pain on my students by convincing them this is a purple shirt, right? Which I'm wearing again for the final class today. And the shirt is, in fact, not black. This is actually a navy shirt. It's not purple either. It's navy. I can pull up the actual shirt if you want on the website I bought it from, if you don't believe me. Or I could be lying. Who knows? Okay. Construct a truth table for this. So y ORed with z. So y is 0. 0 is false, right? Z is 0. So we're going to pick 0. Y ORed with z. So if either of them is true, the answer will be true. So through here, this one's going to be false because y and z are both false. True, true, true. There will be, this is a 4-point question, right? So make sure you guys know truth tables. After this class, there's a couple different ways you can go. And some people are actually taking this class last. It's always interesting to have students who have done computer science before take this class. I usually give them harder homework assignments. I didn't this year. So enjoy. The reason being we're online and it's it would get too complicated. So but where do you guys go after this class? All right, this is CSI 1. So if you like kind of the programming thing, like if you've never programmed before and you kind of like the block programming and doing programs and stuff like that, I encourage you to take CSI 40. So CSI 40 is your standard introduction to programming class. You don't use block programming, you actually type things with your fingers and stuff like that. And it looks like, I don't know, scary maybe. Oops. Why is the internet so slow? So I can, show you what a simple program would look like. Like we can say integer apples is equal to read how many apples do you want to buy? What is the price per apple? The total bill is number of apples you buy times the price per apple. And that's it. So this would be a very simple computer science program, and it looks very text heavy, I guess. It's like learning a foreign language, and this is something I really try to emphasize when I teach CSI 40, is that you're really learning a foreign language. And the good news about it is that there's not actually that many things in the foreign language. The amount of grammar you need to learn, like what does cout mean? What are these weird double left arrows? There's only a handful of things. Like I have to memorize more Japanese vocab in one chapter of Japanese than there is in all of computer science. Right? There's, maybe if you get into the really obscure stuff, maybe 2 chapters worth of Japanese equivalent. But really the important stuff you can learn in less time than it takes to learn 1 unit of Japanese, where there's typically 40 to 50 new adjectives and verbs. And so what does this mean? This means output to the screen, console output. So it'll print to the screen, and it's going to print to the screen your total bill is. The double quotes mean they're words. If they don't have double quotes, they mean they're variables. So it's going to print your total bill is. It's going to print whatever value the user typed in here. This reads from the keyboard the number of apples times the price. The asterisk means multiply. And then this means end the line, so it hits the return key or the enter key. So if we were to compile this and run it, how many apples do you want to buy? 10 apples. What is the price per apple? 4. Your total bill is $40. And so that's what real computer programming looks like. Although some people do actually do block programming for realsies. For example, if you want to take game development with me, game development does block programming. At least in IS, the first semester of game programming, it's all block programming. It's like what you did in Scratch. You just click and drag things around on the screen, and you can program video games and make. Like my students right now made a game that randomly generates a maze, and they run around, and the AI comes at you and shoots you and stuff like that. So, okay, so that's the next step from here. You kind of have to understand logic in order to do programming. It's kind of a prerequisite. You got to know algebra, you got to know logic, which is why this is in CSI 1, and we keep going over it because you kind of really do have to understand it. And yeah, probably a little bit of trig helps. I don't know. Understand the Pythagorean theorem, I guess. Kind of important. Comes up. Okay, so in order to do this row here, we take the result of the y or z column, which is this one, and we AND it with x. So x is the left column here. So the left column here ANDed with the right column here. Okay, and so that would be false because x is false. So anytime you have a false ANDed with anything, it's going to be false. So these top 4 here are easy because zoom in maybe if hope you guys see. False, 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 false. So I don't even have to look at this column. And then for this one, true, 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 true. And so the answer will be true where the right-hand side is true. So for these two, the right-hand side is true. So we got that. And we got that. Now, this kind of stuff is also used in philosophy. So hopefully I might have piqued your interest in philosophy a little bit. Philosophy actually has a class where you do truth tables, like for, either the whole semester or a good chunk of the semester. So this is sort of an intro to that kind of stuff. And like when you're doing the Zybooks and doing the manipulations of truth and things like that, There are philosophy classes that just do that. For me, though, I love philosophy. I'm not a philosopher per se, but I mean anyone's a philosopher if you just go outside and stare at the stars and say, yo, maybe each cell of our body is like the solar system and the stars are like the nucleus. I don't know. Anyone can do philosophy, just think about things, right? And so, I'd encourage you to take a philosophy class. And it could be dry sometimes, like this kind of stuff can be very dry and not especially interesting, although it's important for your development as a critical thinker, and it will help with computer science. Computer science actually developed in part due to a guy named Bertrand Russell, who came up with the turkey thing that I was telling you about with the problem of induction. He's considered one of the fathers of computer science. He was a philosopher. And he proved the basis of mathematics. And so Bertrand Russell is considered a father of computer science, and he's also a philosopher. And in my opinion, philosophy and computer science and math all kind of come together in different and interesting ways. But yeah, take an ethics class. That's it could be fun, or just metaphysics. There's a lot of really interesting topics in philosophy, and it just gets you to think. And it's good for the development of your brain. Like if you like that whole critical thinking, like really, chewing on an issue kind of thing, like especially if you have a good philosophy teacher, like it's really fun. And you just, man, yeah. Do we have free will? I don't know. Like there's good arguments against it. There's good arguments for it. Like and it hurts your brain, in a good way. So I'd encourage you guys to take philosophy too, as well as computer science. Okay, or just study it on your own. Either way. What programming language? We didn't do this semester. The answer was Python. So last year I had you guys learn Python a little bit, but what happened was I think it was just a little bit too much for people, so I didn't do it this semester. If you guys are interested in that, though, if you want to learn NASA Python, yeah, there we go. I'll post that if you guys are interested in it. Maybe we can do that as like an extra credit activity. Yeah. If you guys are interested, it doesn't take too long to go through it. Like basically you learn how to do Python. It'll take you probably 3 or 4 hours to do it. And as you go through it, you'll see it checks the things off, and you can screenshot to me when you finish it and stuff like that. So I'll post that on here. I'll throw up an extra credit assignment. That could be fun. Python is a very common language. It's very commonly taught to beginners, beginning programmers. A lot of people who do data science do Python. There is an extra credit talk on Friday on data science. That'll be in the workshop channel here. Okay. All right, so that'll give you some extra credit points if you do that, and I'll put up the thing on Canvas so you can see what's required of you. Okay, given these sets, okay, so here we've got the numbers from 0 to 10. Here we got the numbers from 0 to 10, not counting 0 and 10. Are you guys familiar with this notation? Like from algebra, if you have a square bracket, it means 0 and 10 are included. And if you have parentheses, it means 0 and 10 are not included. Yeah? So what is the size of the union of the two sets? Anyone? What is the size of the union of the two sets? What's the size of A? Size of A is 11. The size of B is 9, because 0 and 10 are not included. And the union means take any element that's in either A or B and put it into the result. No duplicates. So 3 and 5 don't get counted twice, right? They're just in the set or they're not in the set. So in this case, because it's a complete overlap, the answer is actually just going to be A, right? A union B. In this case, it's just A, and the size of A is 11. Given these sets, same thing here. The intersection, well, that's just going to be B, because there's a total overlap again. And so intersection, the intersection is A intersect B is just going to be B, because with intersect, it creates a set of everybody that is in both sets. With union, it creates a set of everybody who's in either set. So this is like or, and this is like and, if you want to think of it that way. And because they're overlapping, it's a very easy thing to compute. All right, for this one, what is A union with B complement? So B complement is all integers that are not between 0 and 10. So that's an infinite set. And so if you're unioning anything with an infinite set, the answer is going to be infinite. Type in -1 because there's no infinity key on the keyboard. What is A intersect B complement? So A intersect B complement is everybody who is not 1 through 9, right? So what two numbers are in A and B complement? B complement is -infinity through 0 and 10 through infinity, if infinity was a number, which it's not. So what numbers are in A and in B? What do you think? There's two numbers that are in both of these sets, that are in both in A and in B complement. What two numbers are there? Nobody's dead silence on the channel other than Valdez. You got it right, I think, but no. Yeah, 0 and 10. Do you guys need more explanation why the answer is 2? Okay, so tell us how to improve. No. No, thank you. Make mouse support, or yeah, allow me to click on the buttons. That'd be nice. Okay, so if you've got a set, A in this case, you can actually just visualize it as a cloud. Let's say we've just got the numbers from 1 through 4, because I don't want to write 10 numbers out. And then B is a set, and it's an infinite set, so it includes numbers like -9999 and 4000, right? It includes every number not, well, okay, sorry. Start off with B, right? So B is just, we'll say B is 2 and 3, right? So if A is 1 to 4, that's kind of what it looks like. And if B is not square bracket, but smooth bracket, parentheses, 1 to 4, then it's just these numbers. Okay. So when you use smooth parentheses, it means it doesn't include the 1 or the 4. With the square brackets, it means it includes the 1 and the 4. So the intersection of these two, so A intersect B, is fine for me, people that appear in both sets. So in this case, A intersect B is going to be 2 and 3. It's an ugly 3. Right. 2 and 3. And so the size of A intersect B is 2, all right, because there's 2 elements in it. The absolute value sign, the vertical bars mean how many elements are in the set, right? So, so if we do B complement is everybody not 2 and 3, right? So this is an infinite set. It has 0, 1, not 2, not 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, up through infinity. That's an ampersand, not an infinity. And it's also got all the negative integers as well. -1, -2, -3, down through infinity. That's an 8. Amazing. All right. Down through negative infinity. Okay. So the intersection, the union is easy, right? The union of A and B is literally all integers, right? So every integer is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's literally every integer. The union means if a number appears here, or if it appears here, put it into the output set. And in this case, it's literally every integer. And so the size of every integer is infinity. Right? Now, if we do this with a union B complement, sorry, B complement. Don't leave off the complement. A union B complement is all integers. Now, if you do the intersection of them, if you do the intersection of A union B, then I'm asking you to find me what numbers appear here and here. They have to appear in both. So what numbers appear both in A and in B? So the complement, the complement is everything, the universe we're using for this is integers, right? So B complement means every integer not in B. Okay? So B complement is every integer that wasn't in B. B was the numbers 2 and 3. So B complement is every integer not in B. So it's 0, 1, not 2, not 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, all the way down. So what numbers appear here and here? 2 appears here. Does 2 appear here? No. That one is not going to be in A intersect B. What about 3? No, 3 doesn't appear down here. What about 1? Does 1 appear here? Yes. What else? What other number appears? 4. Yep. 4 appears here. 4 appears here. And so the output is a set containing the numbers 1 and 4. And so what is the size of this intersection? In other words, how many elements appear in this output set? 2. Okay. So, coming back to this one, that's why the answer is 2. There's 2 numbers that appear both in A. 0 and 10 appear in A. And B complement is all numbers not between 1 and 9. Right? 0 and 10 are not in B. So if they're not in B, they're in B complement. So it can help to kind of sketch things out like that when doing set theory. Yeah. So 0 appears in both B complement and in A. 10 appears in B complement and in A. So there's two items in the set. EDM is as important to computer scientists as caffeine. True story. There's 2 sets of people, some of which are DJs and some of which are Europeans. So I put down some DJs here. Guetta, Darude, which of course made Sandstorm and I don't know, probably some other things as well, but they're only famous for making Sandstorm. Pezzy, which is kind of an unknown DJ that I discovered after watching Nightwish's Noise. I was like, who is the girl in it? And it turns out she's a DJ, and actually pretty good DJ too. And has a lot of energy. And then Carl Cox, of course, the biggest EDM DJ of all time. So if you look at them, you can see all 4 of these people are Europeans, right? David Guetta, I think, is Dutch. Pezzy is like Scandinavian of some sort. Darude is from, I think, the Netherlands also. And Carl Cox, is he British, I think? Carl Cox. British. Yeah. And so is European a subset of DJ? Do you guys remember the difference between a subset and a proper subset? A proper subset is a subset that is smaller. Does every element of European appear in DJ? That's what I'm asking here. A subset. A subset is when every element in this set appears in this set. Is it a subset? Yeah, it's true. In English, when we say something like males are a subset of the overall population, we typically mean proper subset. Like hopefully you've learned in this class, words like or can be ambiguous. Sometimes they mean inclusive or, sometimes they mean exclusive or. Do you want ice cream or pizza? Yes, says the logician. No, says your mother, right? your mom means exclusive or. You can pick one or the other. You know, do you want to go to movies or do you want to do that? You know, it's oftentimes we use exclusive or. You have to pick one or the other, but not both. And subset is another one of those words where we usually mean it proper subset, like a smaller group. Americans are a subset of the global population. It's very common. If you guys are going to go into any sort of data analysis, data science, statistics, psych, anything, you're going to use the word subset a lot. Like I said, database management and things like that is all set theory, and you can get a good job doing database stuff, but you got to understand set theory to get it. Okay, if a DJ is from the Netherlands, they are good. Infected Mushroom and Astral Projection are Israeli DJs. It's true. Infected Mushroom and Astral Projection are not good. Well, clearly we know that's false because they're amazing, but so ignoring the false generalization, what fallacy are we making here? So if X, then Y, right? If they're from the Netherlands, then they're good. If X, then Y. Infected Mushroom and Astral Projection are Israeli DJs, not X. If X, then Y, not X, therefore not Y. This is a formal fallacy. Which one is it? If X, then Y, not X, therefore not Y. Formal fallacy. We've had this over and over again in this class. Second one, fallacy of composition. Nah. Denying the antecedent. Yeah. Antecedent is what comes before, consequent is what comes after. So if you say if X, then Y, not X, then the fact that, to put it in English, the fact that they're Israeli DJs, we don't know anything about Israeli DJs, right? So we know that Netherlands DJs, Dutch DJs, well, maybe not equivalent, are good. We don't know anything about Israeli DJs. Maybe they're good too. You know, so the fact they're not from the Netherlands doesn't mean they're bad. It just means they may or may not be good. Who knows? We don't know anything about this. So this is a formal fallacy called denying the antecedent. Okay. All right, so top, a shot of a Nazi rally, caption, I never understood a Nazi Germany could happen. Bottom, shot of a Trump rally, caption, I get it now. So this is a reductio ad Hitlerum, right? This is a very common, it's a very common thing to just compare people with Nazis, you know. Yeah. A friend of mine posted something along these lines on Facebook. It is okay for Trump to say the election was stolen because Hillary Clinton said in 2019 that Trump was an illegitimate president and that he knows he stole the 2016 election. So, by the way, again, I balance right and left wing all the time. So this is a fallacy made by a left wing friend of mine. This is a fallacy made by a right wing friend of mine. And I always go one-to-one on these things, always. And so he was saying, he was defending Trump, saying the election being stolen because Hillary had done the same thing. Well, you did it too. So what fallacy is this? To quote, yeah. Well, you guys did the same thing, so it's okay. You know? So, yeah, classic to quote fallacy. Advertising slogan says you should buy a Ford F-150 because it is the best-selling truck in America. So, just because something is the best-selling something doesn't mean it's the best or that you should buy it, right? Like, McDonald's fries are the best-selling fries in America. You know, that doesn't mean you should buy them. Yeah. It's definitely ad populum. Yeah, ad populum for sure. Appeal to popularity. Right? You should do something. It is the best truck because people buy it a lot. Well, a lot of fries you get them at McDonald's simply because you're too lazy to buy your burgers individually. Like, you don't want to explain to people, I want a burger and a drink, but no fries. Nah, it takes too much effort. Yeah, fine, give me the extra value meal. I don't care. Okay. I think that the election was stolen because Trump claims the election was stolen. Okay. Which fallacy is this? So the justification for this claim, remember, in this, one of the things I want you guys to take away from this is that there's a claim. I think the election was stolen. That's a claim. I believe something to be true. When people make a claim, they have to justify it. If not, it's just what's called a naked claim. I think the election is stolen. Why? I don't know. Okay, go away. Like, that's a naked claim, right? And so when somebody provides justification for a claim, you have to examine it and see, does the logic follow? In this case, it does not, because it is a ad verecundium, right? This is a appeal to improper authority in this case, right? And so you have to look at the justification for someone's claim as a critical thinker. And that's really what I want you guys to come away from this class having, is media is sometimes okay, sometimes it's utter garbage, as we've seen, like just from browsing Google News. Like, it's becoming more and more clickbaity and more just like everyone following each other, and stuff like that. So you really have to pay attention to what the media says, pay attention to what your friends say on social media, look at their sources, get into the habit. Somebody says, hey, this academic says this. Go to like, once I was on a plane flight, I read a 300-page doctoral dissertation because a friend of mine claimed that America is not a meritocracy, right? And this woman had written a doctoral thesis on it, so I read through it. And and as you'd imagine, she made some good points, and also made some horrible points that weren't justified at all. Like, everybody knows, everybody knows, and I'm like, no, you should not have that in a PhD thesis. You cannot justify your claim with, just everybody knows this to be true. I'm like, no, and then some of them she had stats and things like that, and they were good, right? And so I was arguing with a friend on Facebook at an airport, and then I get on and he posts this PhD thesis to support his point, and so I download it on my phone and I spend a 3-hour flight reading this 300-page thesis. I don't necessarily recommend you guys do that, but when people make claims, look at the justification for them. That's, if there's anything you guys take away from this class, it's please do that. Please do that. Just don't take people's words for it. Look at the sites, look at the citations. If they don't have any citations, it's like, get out of here, whatever. So this one is critical of right wing, so this one is critical of left wing. I think that Trump is a bad president because this one time CNN reported that he was served 2 scoops of ice cream when everyone else got 1, right? Which is just like classic CNN. CNN, I've been sort of dunking on them this whole semester, and it's because they're actually really bad. Harvard study, which is not a bastion of like right-wing, we're almost at it. It's not a bastion of right-wing thinking, found that CNN to be like, not like, I think it was like 90-something% negative on Trump, and like worse than like the other ones and things like that. So I can post that link if you guys want it. So yeah, and so CNN ran a story like Trump got 2 scoops of ice cream, and it's like, who gives a rat's ass, and so this would be a red herring, right? So whether or not somebody gets 2 scoops of ice cream has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not they're a good president. You know what I mean? And or another time CNN showed Trump with Abe, the prime minister of Japan, and Abe's like feeding the koi fish, and then it shows Trump just dumping the food into the koi pond. And like, haha, look at how dumb he is. And what they cut out was so Abe put the fish food in, he put the fish food in, then Abe dumped his out, Then Trump dumped his out, and CNN selectively cut out the part in the middle where Trump was just looking at what Abe was doing and copying him, making it look like he's just this dumb guy. He's like, you know, like very, very, very bad. So, you know, there's a reason why I've been dunking on CNN, is because they, I think, have not only abandoned any premise of journalistic neutrality, but have actively gone off the rails. And you can make similar criticisms of Fox, like Fox basically never say anything good about a Democrat ever. You know, very. I mean, I'm sure they do sometimes, but like very close to, you know, like if a Democrat agrees with them or something, like Joe Manchin right now, you know, they might say good things about them, but like Fox will basically almost never say anything good about a Democrat, which, you know, it's you know, it's the world we live in. Right? So I bought 2 PlayStations and both of them have broken. Therefore, PlayStations are poorly made devices is a false generalization. That's so dumb. What is dumb, Hernandez? So bored you'd rather read a whole PhD paper while you wait. No, it was more like I just didn't want to be wrong, you know. So when you're like getting into it with your friends, because my friends are critical thinkers, right? And so they'll cite sources, and so if you're going to debate them, you got to be like, all right, I'm going to read your source. You know, you link to doctoral thesis, I'm going to read your source and find out if it's any good. Just watch me do it. You know, and we have these long threads and things like that. It's kind of fun. So you know, they'll cite a news article, and the source of the news article is somebody familiar with the matter. You know, and it's like, nah, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying an anonymous source. Sorry, you know. And then he'll say, well, look, it's from the Washington Post. They're a credible news organization. You know, and they have to protect their sources. I'm like, yeah, it's an anonymous source, dude. I don't know what to tell you. You know, like, you know, you know, I could invent something as well. You know, so, okay. The longer I've stayed in CSI 1, the more temperature outside has dropped. Obviously, this is fall semester, not spring semester. Therefore, my taking CSI 1 has caused the temperature outside to drop. My bad. What fallacy is this? The longer you're in CSI 1, the more the temperature changes. Right. Hopefully you guys should all get this. You guys have been doing well on this one on the midterms. Yes, correlation is not causation. Right. Very common fallacy though. The lights on a car moving past my house. The lights on a car are moving past my house at 30 miles an hour. Nothing can travel faster than that, since nothing can move faster than light. Is what fallacy? Let's take CSI 1 over the summer. Yeah, then I can't use it, huh? This is equivocation. Yeah. The lights on a car moving at 30 miles an hour doesn't... It's the speed of lights moving past. It's not the speed of light. You know, it's an equivocation fallacy. I know that God doesn't exist because all evidence that could support the existence for God, I know, must be wrong. So there is no evidence for God. Therefore, we must reject the proposition that God exists. What fallacy? The speed of lights is not the speed of light. Yeah. Circular reasoning. Yeah. Assume your conclusion. Use that assumption to reject things that would make you change your mind, and then conclude your assumption. Classic circular reasoning. Very common. So we picked on atheists here. We're going to pick on Christians here. And I should probably pick on other religions as well. Whatever. There's more than just Christianity in the world. I know that the Bible is true because my priest told me the Bible is true. Is a appeal to authority, right? This is not adequate justification, right? So that's an ad verecundium. Republicans support like guns. That's a typo, I think. Republicans like guns. You're Republicans, you must like guns. This is fallacy of division. Normally, I don't put both options on there. So, so division is when you go from a generalization to an individual. Composition is when you go from an individual to a group. Okay. And so this is fallacy of division, because you are Republicans, you must like guns. You're a Democrat and like guns, therefore all Democrats must like guns is composition. Could also be called a false generalization. But I don't put, if there's multiple candidates, I typically don't put them up there. If you lick a metal pole in wintertime, your tongue will get stuck to it. Hey, I once licked a metal pole in wintertime, and my tongue didn't get stuck to it. Yeah, okay, but you grew up in San Diego. I meant like actual winter. So moving goalposts and what fallacy? Yeah, so division is when you take something that's true about a group and divide it and apply that truth to all the members. Like an airplane can fly, but a seed inside of an airplane can't fly, right? That's division. It's a smaller part, but don't worry about it. I'm not going to put both of them on this one. I'll be kind. Okay. So this is no true Scotsman. Yeah, let's see how we did. There's a couple I think might be ambiguous. How'd I do? Yeah, there's one that I think was ambiguous. Did I not select all the questions on this? No. Well, that explains it. Okay. So that's it for the semester. Do you guys have any questions about the final? Again, we're going to talk about all the social issues. I'll provide examples of scenarios. You have to find out which social issue it applies to. I'm not going to give you guys any more Zybooks. It's the end of the semester. We'll just call it there. Although if you want, you probably could read through the rest of the Zybooks, and there are some interesting topics in there, like that we could talk about. But I think the semester went pretty well. So, yep. Navy. What should we expect to see on the final? Maybe you've already answered this question, but I didn't hear it. Yeah, everything. Truth tables, set theory, fallacies, social issues in computer science. And I can post that final. I can make that public for you guys, so you can take it yourself if you want. Spend more time on it. Okay. Yeah, I hope you guys had a fun time. This is a fun class. I love how many questions are on there. It'll probably be in the 30 range, something like that. So you'll have 4 minutes per question to answer it, which is pretty good. This class is definitely the most fun class I had this semester. That doesn't tell me anything. Your other classes could have been horrible, and this was just the least horrible. But who knows? Who knows? You enjoyed making the games? Good. The exam will be open on Monday. Yeah. It'll run through midnight on Thursday. And sent you my Space Invader project a while ago. Send me the link again, Rios. I'll take a look at it again. Yeah, the Scratch Studios, like I said, there are issues going through all of your projects on it. So next semester, I'm just not going to do the studios. I think I'll just have students just mail me the links directly, and it'll be easier that way. Yeah, thanks for taking this class, everyone. I hope I can encourage you guys to take more computer science or take more philosophy. Yeah, take more psychology. Psychology is really interesting too. The more psychology you know, the more you understand people, and how they operate. It's really helpful in life to understand people. Take public speaking. That's useful. It's all everything's useful, really. So thank you guys too. It's been a pleasure teaching you guys. I've had a lot of fun, and yep, I'll put up the extra credit assignment right now, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. All right. Peace.